If you want to buy a really good pair of wireless ANC headphones, then should you buy the latest Sony WH-1000XM5s or get the older Sony WH-1000XM4s? Now, I've owned their XM4s, the previous generation, for a good couple of years now, and they've been really good. So, how do the XM5s compare? Well, I was recently on a flight. I flew from New Zealand to the UK, so that's about 29 hours, so I could test both of these out. Let's get into it. Now, whilst there are some differences between these two headphones, which I will get into, there's also a lot of similarities as well. Now, with both of these, you get ambient sound control, so you can select how much of that outside noise you want to let in if you want to hear your surroundings. They also both come with 360-degree reality audio, so spatial audio, if you have a spatial audio source. So I don't think that's going to affect too many people, but it's there if you need it. They do both have speak to chat, which does work on both of these. The downside is if you say anything or even start singing along to some music, it activates the speak to chat. So I generally just turn it off. They also both have the same custom EQs and presets in the Sony mobile app. So there's a 5-band graphic EQ where you can go and change the sound to your preference. Now that is going to be needed because these do sound slightly different, which I'll get to in a little bit. They both also have automatic ear detection. So if you take your headphones off whilst you're listening to music, it will pause your music. And when you put them back on again, they'll start playing again. And they also both have DSEE Extreme, which is supposed to upscale compressed music. You get variable results, and I generally leave that off though because it does affect battery life. Now let's get into some of the differences because physically they are very different headphones. So if we look at the XM4s first, design wise, these are very similar to the XM3s that have come before it. One of the key design features here is that they fold up. So you can either just fold them up like this and shove this in your bag, or you can put it inside the case that I've got here. So these quite easily just fold up like that, go in the case, and then all your cables and stuff are in here as well. Inside the case, you do have a 3.5mm audio jack or 3.5mm audio cable for plugging it into an audio source. You also have the shortest USB-C cable you've ever seen, and a really important thing if you're going on a plane, you have a little plane adapter for those planes that still use these 2-prong adapters. This then all zips up into a case that is actually pretty compact. Other than just folding up, these do articulate quite well on the ear cups, so they're going to fit your head nicely and comfortably. The foam on the ear cups here is comfortable, but there isn't much of it. So I do find that after wearing these for quite a while, the inside of these ear cups do start to touch my ears. Other than that, everything else is nice and soft, feels good quality, and it's really sturdy as well. It's not going to break. And as I said, I've worn these for years. I've had these for years. They've been a great pair of headphones. If we now move over to the XM5s, which are over here. Now, the first thing you'll notice is the case. It's a lot different, and that's mainly because the design of these have changed significantly because they don't fold up anymore. They just fold flat. Now, that has a big impact when you're actually looking at the size of the case here. Because if I look at the size of the XM5 case versus the XM4 case, well, I mean, they are significantly different. Now, that isn't going to matter too much if you don't go traveling, but certainly if you're going with onboard luggage with the plane, having the more compact case of the XM4 does make a big difference. Something else that's also missing out of the XM5s is that plane adapter that I had in the XM4 case. So the XM5s don't have a plane adapter, which I think is a big miss, especially when you're paying more for the XM5s than you are the XM4s. Like, why miss it out? Everything else, though, is nice and easily accessible. Inside here, well, I've actually got a plane adapter. That's because I had another one spare, but it doesn't come with these headphones. So I'll put it over there. As well as that, you've also got the 3.5mm cable and the same incredibly short USB-C cable as well. But it goes nicely away in this little magnetic compartment here. Other than that, the case is nice and soft. It is a little bit spongy, and by that I mean it's not the rigid case that the XM4 case came with. So this is a fairly rigid case. Like, it's not going anywhere, it's rock solid, it's really good for putting in your bag, and you know that your case is protecting your headphones. Meanwhile, if you look at the XM5 case, well, it squishes. You can see what I mean here. Like, it folds. I mean, the idea behind that is that when you've got the headphones out of the case, is that this folds down flatter, so it takes up less room in your bag. The downside, though, is that I don't think it gives the headphones as much protection as the case did with the XM4s. Other than that though, you've got this sort of soft padding just at the top. Whilst the leather goes all the way around, it's only padded up the top bit here. Now whilst I said the ear padding on the XM4s was actually quite thin, where the inside would touch my ears if you wear them for a long period of time, if you look at the ear pads on the ear cups of the XM5s, well, they actually look thinner than the XM4s. However, when you actually wear them, the XM5s actually found more comfortable. I didn't find that my ears touched the inside of the XM5s, but I did for the XM4s. And I think it's because if you do put them side by side, you do notice that the XM5 is ever so slightly deeper. It's like they've recessed the speakers a bit more than they have on the XM4s. Not saying the XM4s are uncomfortable, I just found the XM5s a little bit more comfortable. They do also both have touch sensitive controls on the ear cups, so swipe up and swipe down will do volumes, or swipe forwards or backwards, or touch it to play or pause. It works okay. Some people don't like touch controls. I'm kind of nonplussed about them. I don't see them as a pro or a con, it's just how they work. And on the ear cups, you'll see that the finish on the XM5s, they kind of feel about the same, but definitely on the XM5s, they show up fingerprints a lot easier than the old XM4s do. So you can't really see any fingerprints on the XM4, whereas on the XM5s, they definitely do sort of show up a little bit more. So just something to be careful or mindful of. Other than that, all the controls are kind of the same. They've all got USB-C charging at the bottom. They've got buttons for sort of ANC, power on and off, Bluetooth pairing. Now let's get on to the ANC, because really in a pair of travel wireless headphones, that's pretty important. One thing I did notice on the flight was the XM5's ability to just automatically configure itself for the best ANC that you can get. With the XM4s, when you want to get the best ANC out of these, you have to go into the mobile app, run a test. It does an atmospheric pressure and tests the environment around you to get the right ANC setting. The XM5 just does that automatically, like it measures its surrounding noise and then optimizes itself for that surrounding. And it is such a difference when it kicks in. Whilst the XM4s are really good at cancelling out a lot of the lower frequencies, they do struggle a little bit at the higher frequencies. The XM5s though, they're just better all round. They are better at blocking out the lower frequencies, and they're a lot better at blocking out some of the higher frequencies. They are a noticeable jump up from the XM4s. Again, the XM4s are really good. The XM5s are just better. Sound-wise, there is a difference between these two. So you've got 40mm drivers in the XM4s and a 30mm driver in the XM5s. Does make the driver bigger in the XM4s. In reality, though, that actually doesn't really make much of a difference, although not in the way that you'd think. The XM4s were good, and there's a slight emphasis on the bass, and it definitely boosts the treble a bit. So you might find yourself going into the mobile app and having to sort of dial back the treble a bit. The XM5s, however, I thought was a far more neutral listening experience. I mean, neither of these headphones are going to be super bassy, so if you're a bass head, you might want to be looking at something like the Sony ULT range of headphones for something a bit more bass heavy. However, the XM5s here, nice and neutral. The treble isn't as boosted at all, so it was a lot more pleasant to listen to out of the box. Having said that, you can go into the Sony mobile app and you can tweak the EQ of both of these headphones to pretty much sound very similar. Codec wise, both of them also support SBC, AAC, and also Sony's LDAC, so the high-res audio format, if you've got high-res audio to play. So both of these sound great, and I think you'd be happy with either. It's just the XM5 for me was a little bit better. And Bluetooth support wise, you've got Bluetooth 5.0 with the XM4s and 5.2 with the XM5s, which means the XM5s are ready for low energy audio, so you should get better battery life out of these. But when it comes to battery life, Sony actually quotes the same amount of battery life, pretty much. You get 30 or 38 hours of battery life with the XM4s with ANC on or off, and you get 30 or 40 hours with ANC on or off with the XM5s. However, in testing, the XM4s veer closer to 20 hours, and the XM5s, well, veer closer to the actual marketed 30 hours. So yes, in real world testing, the XM5s do better. Charging wise, however, the XM5s do take longer. They take 3.5 hours to charge up to full, with the XM4s only taking 3. However, both of them are equipped with fast charging, where a 10-minute charge will get you 5 hours of playback with the XM4s, and a 3-minute charge will get you 3 hours of playback with the XM5s. So it's slightly faster, fast charging with the XM5s. Now the mic is somewhere where Sony headphones haven't done particularly well, and the XM4s are no exception. They do say that the mic on the XM5s are better. So here's a test so you can hear it out for yourself. You're now listening to the mic on the Sony WH-1000XM4s, so you can hear what the mic on these headphones sound like in a quiet room. You're now listening to a mic test of the Sony WH-1000XM5 headphones, so you can hear what it sound like if you were to take a call on these in a quiet room. Now let's switch over to something a little more noisy. You are now listening to the mic on the top of the camera with some ambient wind noise playing in the background, so you can hear what the ambient sound in the room is like. If I now switch over to the mic on the headphones, you'll now listen to the mic on the Sony WH-1000XM4s and how well these headphones are cancelling out that wind noise in the background and making my voice clear and well heard. You'll now listen to the mic on the Sony WH-1000XM5s, so you can hear how well this mic is cancelling out that background noise and making my voice well heard. So which did you think sounded the best? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I think the XM5s do sound better, especially when you get to more windy environments as well. It's just better at cancelling out that background noise. Still, if you're not going to use the headphones for taking calls, it doesn't really matter. So which of these would you get? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, I think overall the XM5s are the better pair of headphones in most cases. They sound better, albeit only just, have better ANC and a better mic as well. Plus at only $50 extra, $399 versus $349 at the full retail price, I think the extra $50 is worth it. Unless you travel quite a bit, in which case the different sizes of the cases and the fact that it can't be quite compact might mean the XM5 is a bit of a no-go for you. And the XM4s are still a great pair of headphones, they just don't sound quite as good as the XM5s. Plus, there's now even a bigger price range difference between them, because whilst the retail was a $50 price difference, both of these headphones have seen a significant price drop recently. So you can now get the XM5s for $298 on Amazon at the moment, but the XM4s you can get for $198. For less than $200, you can get what used to be a flagship pair of headphones. So I will put links to both of them in the description down below so that you can go check them out for yourself. If you want to check out some more alternatives, then be sure to check out the link up here. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and share it. Consider subscribing if you're not. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.